All right. Yeah, we're on. Hi, everyone. I'm Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo, and I have my good friend, Greg Bryers here. We're going to be checking in with you and checking on the chats. Let us know you're here. Say hi. Let us know where you are in the world. Greg, are you in Austria now?
Yeah, in Austria, just outside Vienna.
Okay, I
Yeah.
love it. And what would it take for me to visit you and see you in person? I think we've only ever connected online, and it's been years
Yeah.
of these wonderful collaborations and discussions,
Yeah.
but I've never given you a squeeze. How is that possible?
Oh, well, that's the crazy thing about this one. It's very possible now, you know. There are people that know me better than I know myself. I've never met them.
Well, and here's
So
the thing is, even with all that, I feel like I have gotten hugs and squeezes from you. I love
yeah,
your energy so much. I think part of
thank you.
it is that, we are very without separation. Like we just don't have any
Yeah,
walls up against
no,
each other and for other people, and just how we talk. And then when we talk, whatever little bit of residual walls there are, I'll just go even
yeah,
more. I love that. So just thank you for
yeah.
that.
Oh, welcome.
And so hi
Thank you.
everybody. Hi, Shaima's here. Great. Thanks for saying hi. We wanted to talk to you about what is an alchemist.
Mm,
And
mm,
just for total transparency, you probably have already heard it, but we're going to remind you, we're a part of the Messages from Books community. It's a book club, it's a community, it's dynamic expansion in a group. And what else? There's the book, which I think is upside down, but I think that actually works for
It
it to be
is.
upside down. That's the cover that I have. I love that new cover. And
Mm,
we're going to be talking about The Alchemist in our next group discussion in the community club. I think it's August 5th.
yeah.
But we wanted to actually let people know and talk about how we see alchemists, because a lot of people don't know. They read the title, it's a big chunky kind of word in their world. And so, yeah, let's get in it. Let's see. Look at, I love this. Loredana's here and she's like, alchemists of the world, unite.
Yeah, really, what I mean when you say the word alchemy, what does that conjure in most people's minds? I mean, my God, it's like magic, voodoo, and sorcery, and and it's yes, in some ways it is because
But
it's
not like a
really
scary way.
no, oh no, it for me alchemy is it's a transformation, but it's not through force, it's through invitation, and um, an alchemist is somebody who's willing to transform themselves.
Mm. Is
You
willing to
know,
transform themselves. But what if it's like, I don't want to change? Like,
then don't.
I don't want to change myself. Everything else needs to change around me instead of me changing. Like, forget this.
Well, yeah,
And that's one of the
it,
things that I hear a lot about when I'm like, okay, change and transformation and alchemy and chaos. And it's like, all right, but what if I don't want the change to show up? Like it's gonna be too much for me, or it's gonna be,
mhm.
I'm not sure if I have the capacities to like handle this new change. Like, let's go, wow, this whole thing. And there's this very much this gesture a lot.
Yeah. So back up, Bobby.
Back
Yeah,
off, please, with that
yeah,
transformation talk.
yeah, and that's fine too because it's just a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's what I mean. So many people think and they come at others with a sledgehammer to try and crack a walnut. You have to change, you have to choose, you have to choose. People go, well, fuck, what do I choose? I'm happy with
Yeah,
what I've got.
that doesn't work.
No, and it's not about that. This is looking at what the things that don't work for you and inviting something in that does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I really like what Paulo wrote in the Alchemist book when he says, um, where the alchemists they create change in their lives, and he says it's like when the world no longer has need for lead, then lead will have to transform itself into gold.
Wow. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's like this is the same with us. When the world no longer works for us, then yes, we can try and make the world transform around us, or we can change to make so that we create more for ourselves.
Wait a minute. Can I turn into gold and shine brighter? Ah,
Yeah, why not?
you see, I wore the wrong earrings today, Greg. You didn't tell me I was supposed to wear the gold earrings, but maybe I can change these silver ones into
I thought
gold.
they were white gold. Sorry.
Maybe they really are. Maybe they're already
Yeah.
transforming.
But it's I mean, what is it? What is an alchemist? And it's anybody that can create what others perceive as magic in the world. You know, you're an alchemist with what you do with creating these rooms and connecting people.
Thank you.
Um, I remember watching Susan Laser Hart with people. You know, she is such a magician with changing people and allowing people. Um, Blossom Benedict, you know, she can actually make somebody like me sing a song. um, but you know, and these are people that create alchemy in other people's lives,
Mm,
and it's this is and I mean, really, alchemy is just the transformation.
yeah. So
It's the
it's transformation for the greater, for something that's going to be more expansive, that's going to work for you. Like it sounds very pragmatic. It sounds very practical to
yeah,
actually choose alchemy in a way that works for you. Now,
yeah,
I guess one of the things that I'm wondering about is maybe some people have some myths in their world about alchemy in a way that doesn't work for you. Like,
yeah,
does that exist? Like, or is it alchemy? If it's really truly alchemy, it always is more expansive and transformative.
absolutely.
is there like that dark side of alchemy?
No, I mean, for me, I mean, there's a lot of bullshit out there in the esoteric world. You know, a lot of
Real,
people
like
make
a lot.
rules so that they can, yeah, so that they can create control over other people. You know, if you make
Mm,
this rule, then your people have to come to you. Have I passed that one yet? You know, sorry, you know, it's
hmm.
actually only worth this much. You know? And but it's the same thing, and it's like mm, in the book, the boy is being given the challenge to become the wind, so that he doesn't die in 3 days' time. He has 3 days to learn how to become the wind. And he
Hmm.
says to his teacher, you know, the alchemist that was known, you know, but I don't know how to become the wind. And the alchemist
What
said,
was
well,
that last part? I didn't catch it.
I don't know how to become the wind.
Hmm.
Then his teacher said, well, you've got 3 days to learn. But what if I don't? I'll die. And he says, it's better to have died trying than to have never tried.
That's
Too many
I'm
people.
just gonna pause on that because I get that a lot of people live from the complete opposite of that. It's like, unless I know it's a guaranteed this particular conclusion destination, I'm not even going to bother trying. And in that whole time of not trying at all, they're not living.
No,
And
no,
that's the journey and the joy of the living. I love the journey of this book as well. Like, it's, you go on this journey with this boy, and I love that it's a young boy
yeah,
that we're
yeah,
with on this, just like a lot of the characters, this hero's journey in the books in our community. Are we actually willing to to try and to strive and to take steps, no, without actually thinking that there's going to be any particular result? Like, he
yeah,
had like a target that he was trying to hit, but sometimes it's just like, can it be better? Just
yeah,
a little better. Can it just like 10%? Can I breathe a little bit easier today?
yeah. I mean, and sometimes we think of like, oh my God, you know, this is terrible, but it could always be worse.
Yeah.
You know, I spent 5.5 years in a wheelchair. People just, oh my God, you know, how sad. I said, why? I've got a wheelchair. I can still move around.
Yeah.
I can still wheel myself. I'm really happy
Hmm.
because I spent 6 months with not waiting for a wheelchair to arrive in New Zealand for me, and that wait was like hell because I was basically trapped, unable to go out of the house. And when I finally got the wheelchair, then they had to build a ramp for me. They didn't build it while I was waiting. No, no, no. Get the chair first, then we build you the ramp. So, all these things that made life really difficult. So when I finally got there and I had freedom, I was so grateful for that. And it, all of these things, when we stop and we explore, we can actually fill out that life with gratitude. And that's the transformative power. That's what really creates transformation in our lives because we change in here first.
Hmm.
And
We're changing like our mindset. And I love this idea of alchemy and gratitude.
mm,
Like, ooh, that's like really yummy.
yeah,
I thank you for that because I love gratitude. I think that's one of the most powerful tools on the planet and one of the least used ones. And I didn't recognize how much me as a chaos queen, as someone that is well versed in alchemy from before birth, I'm
yeah,
sure, but definitely since then, um, how much gratitude has played a role in me really embracing alchemy.
yeah,
Like so I'm getting that for some people who are really have a strong resistance to alchemy and a strong resistance to this book, because even for me, everyone and their mother was telling me to read this book. Wait,
yeah.
I read it years ago. I'm revisiting again for our discussion, and it was like it was just sitting there just like looking at me like I had a stank face every time I looked at that book, Greg, I will tell you. And even revisiting it now, I was like, I've already read it, I already enjoyed it. What is this resistance to this book and to this journey and to this energy of, and it was like, oh, like again, oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just yeah.
and
Got
not
something
like a
stuck in my
cute like
teeth. Yeah,
curl like Elvis or
yeah,
something. No.
yeah. uh-huh.
Yeah. And I get that this piece of gratitude is a way to unlock the resistance to it.
Mm,
Like,
mm.
wow. I'm just gonna like just ooh with that a little bit. We have some comments in the chat. Oh, I want to turn into a golden nugget too. uh with alchemy, you can transform really everything, no limitations, right? And so I wonder what's your question really with that? Like, what are you trying to change, or have you been trying to change and transform with alchemy that hasn't shown up yet? Uh, and there's the whole thing. I mean, if you really acknowledge, for me, I was doing these beyond limitation sessions like years ago, and it transformed into other kinds of sessions. But part of what the alchemic piece in there for me was as soon as you think that there is a limitation, you're not in alchemy.
Yeah,
Would you agree with that? Like,
yeah,
for me, it's like
absolutely.
if I'm like, oh, there's a limitation there, there's a barrier there, I'm like, I'm not really actually being true for myself and being infinite and being like the alchemist I truly be. What's your take
Well,
on that?
yeah, we can recognize where the limits are and go, so what is that? Hmm, that doesn't work for me, and I can change that limit. I can go past it. For me, it was a big shift when I went to a class that was to look at beyond what we knew was conceivable, to
Mm,
choose a life that was inconceivable. So for me, as a Kiwi living in New Zealand, what I'm living now was totally inconceivable.
oh, okay.
So, you know, to to be able to just travel, I mean, even during COVID, I could go beyond the borders. For most people, even here, that was still inconceivable. How can you do that? I
Mhm.
don't know. I'm allowed to go. And it's like I go to Budapest on the train, and the guys don't even see me. They don't even look at me anymore. They just carry on past. Um, it's all of these things that when we really truly choose it, we become the invitation for more. But again, wherever I go, deeply grateful to people for the things that they create for me and allow for me, and that then opens more doors. You know? And it's I can show you two photos of me. One from 8 years ago, when my two grandchildren were born, and then show you one of me 3 years ago when I first arrived here in Europe, and it's not the same guy.
Oh, I've seen, yeah. I
Mm.
even since the last time we had calls together years ago,
Yeah,
and we were talking about distraction and all of these different things, and talk about going beyond limitations. Like that was really amazing. And you look younger.
yeah.
Not that I was counting your wrinkles, but you have less wrinkles now. You seem,
I'm a bit fatter.
I was gonna say the opposite. I actually feel like your face is more slender. Maybe the rest of you,
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't see the rest of
yeah.
you.
I can stand up if you like, but it's not pretty. But yeah, I'm still, it's all those. I certainly don't look the same guy, and people have said, I mean, I showed the photo of me holding my two grandchildren to Gabi. She goes, "Who is this old man? Why are you showing me this photo?" I says, "That's me, 3 years ago." She goes, "No way." I said, "That's me." She says, "No, no. If you looked like that just before I met you, there's no way I'd even look at you." I says, "Well, that's me." And it's just, it's totally different. But these are the things that we can transform within ourselves, just living in that space of gratitude. For me, it's the currency of the universe. Because universe goes, "Oh, you like that? Here, have some more." And yeah, I
Yeah.
there's so much like that that we can do, and when we let go and totally trust that. This is why I love this book. This is my third copy because I keep wearing the books out. This is the first time we give myself permission to mark in the book. Normally, no way. This looks,
I
but
love doing that.
yeah,
Yeah, my friends and family are like horrified. Well, not all of them because they're used to me by now, some of them, but it's it helps me. It's like I'm having the conversation more and I'm reminded, I comment, and the
yeah,
book, it's almost like I write in and it's almost like it changes color and like the book like absorbs my comments.
yeah,
Like, I hear you. Thanks.
yeah, yeah,
It's, I even like using different colors and things. We have another comment here: transform within ourselves. Gratitude as currency of the universe. Phenomenal. Yeah. Gratitude as currency of the universe. And I get that when we engage with these books and we have gratitude for them, that we're actually opening doors. We actually are making that be more the currency available in the world.
yeah, yeah,
And we can do that with each other. Each time we're doing that with any other being, piece of furniture, books, I mean, all these different entities and things that have this consciousness, we actually have that, make it more available in the world. And that's the other piece that I'd like to end with and talk about with you, if you'd like,
yeah,
is this idea of an alchemist being someone that is willing to create something that the world needs more of. And when we're aware of, oh, I would like the world to have more of this, more of this, more of this, fill in the blank, whatever it is.
yeah.
Are we actually willing to choose and be and create a way for that to show up more? And that's one of the things that I think of when I think of the alchemist, and I think of me as an alchemist. And each of us it's gonna look different.
Absolutely.
It's definitely the way you're an alchemist versus the way I'm an alchemist is totally different, and yet it's very complementary, which is part of
Yeah.
why I adore you.
Well, this is why, this is this dovetailing thing, and thank you. I adore you too. It's hand in hand. Yeah. It's not this, it's this,
No, there's not this resistance, and that's the whole
No.
piece. And again, as soon as we're doing this and resisting against each other, against a point of view, we're not really actually being the alchemists that we could be. That is, it's available to us. And so I wonder if we could actually, I'm going to just throw out the question to anybody who's watching this now or later, like what are the steps that you could take today that are congruent with what you know is possible in the world, that would you'd like to see more of in the world? Would you like to see more gold? Would you like to see more gratitude? Would you like to see more peace and more playfulness, whatever it is? And then what could you create and choose, starting with you, that would make it more available as a currency in the world, as something that's a vibration that people can be like, wait, more of that, please.
Yeah. I tell you a little story just to close, just with that space of
Yeah.
energy and gratitude. So I went to a city called Szeged in Hungary, and I was working late during the swap, and I walked back to my apartment, and there's a cafe bar open. I thought, I'm going to get me a burger, you know. And I walked in, and there's this big mountain man. He's just huge. He makes me feel petite, and I'm 125 kilos, and he outweighed me, and he was just full of muscle. And I walked in, and he spun on his heels and looked at me really hard. It's like, "Ooh." And then I smiled at him and hello, and made my order and sat back down in the corner and waited. And he looked at me again, and anyway, I got my burger, and my landlord turned up to show me the apartment, and I went. And the next day I thought, man, that burger was so good. I'm going back for a second. And so that evening I went back to the bar cafe, and I walked in the door, and this guy was there in the same spot on the bar, like he hadn't even gone home, He's
Right.
and he spun around, and he walked up to me, he grabs me by the shoulders, looks down at me, and says, "Who are you? What are you?" I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "I've not felt that energy ever. And that was so strong. What are you?"
Aw.
And I says, "I'm just Greg. I'm just here visiting people, teaching a class." And he looked at me and said, no, I've spent time with teachers and masters, and you're beyond that. What are you? I says, "My friend, I'm just grateful to be here." And he looked at me, big tears coming down his face, and he just hugged me right on my shoulder. And this
Aw.
guy was military. And the barman, who was also military, they knew each other in the army,
Yeah.
just looked at this guy and went, "What the fuck?"
What did you just do to my friend?
Yeah, what did you just do? But the next day, the barman brought his wife in to see me and his baby, so I could touch them. And it's like, but can I just, it's to finish the story.
Yeah.
I'm going to quote something from Paulo. And he's talking, the boy's talking to the son. And this is what he says. "It is we who nourish the soul of the world. And the world we live in will either be better or worse, depending on whether we become better or worse. And that's where the power of love comes in. And for me, love and gratitude are interchangeable, because love is misused in this reality. And that's where the power of love comes in, because when we love, we always strive to become better than we are.
When we love, we always strive to become better
Than we are.
than we are. So are we loving ourselves?
Yes. And that's what alchemists do. They show that when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too.
So the more love and gratitude we have for ourselves, the greater the world could be, perhaps?
Absolutely, because it reflects it back to us.
Yeah.
And we become the invitation for others to do that as well.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I love that quote. That's a really good one. And that's just one of many gems in this book. And we're going to be talking about more of them in 2 weeks, on Thursday, August 5th. And it'll be same time as our video started today. So 1 o'clock New York, 6 o'clock United Kingdom. And for the rest of Europe, I think it's 7 o'clock. And then we'll provide a local time link and everything. If you have any questions about anything we've said, let us know. And I'd love to add in and for you to post, what do you know about what an alchemist is? Because we only scratched the surface. There's so much more of what it is and can be, especially when we actually look at what it could be our way. And each of us is really different in our unique way. Thank you so much, Greg. Per usual, I love talking to you. I'm sending you a big hug from Savannah,
Kindly
Georgia.
received. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And thank you everyone for checking in with us and watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are.
Yes,
Bye.
it's time for the evening for me. So, yeah, we'll see you later and soon. And keep
Yeah.
messaging. Okay.